Just take a lively companion wherever you go. Take a portable radio. Keep your radio on, keep your radio on. Music, 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 good listening filled with fun.
And the hits just keep on coming.
Welcome to Radio Reactive 1, the reaction channel where the only reaction that matters is yours. That's because I can't very well pretend to have never heard these songs, because after 30 plus years as a top 40 radio disc jockey, not only have I heard most popular songs, but I've played them to death on the radio. But this reaction channel is designed to be a little different from some others, because we'll go back and listen to groups of songs on a lot of videos and get your reaction to them. Before we start today, let me ask you to hit the thumbs up button to like the video and click the red subscribe button to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to ring the bell to receive notifications whenever a new video goes up. You know, anyone who didn't live through the 60s may think the Beatles pretty much defined the decade musically. But in truth, what the Beatles did was they opened the floodgates for what became known as the British invasion, as dozens of groups from the UK took over and transformed the sound of popular music in the Western world. Certainly the Beatles were the biggest of those groups, and while some people may assume that their biggest rivals were the Rolling Stones or maybe the Beach Boys, I would argue that from about 1964 to 1966 or 7, the group that seemed to rival the Beatles in popularity, with the kids I knew anyway, was a group that seems to have been all but forgotten. They were the Dave Clark Five. And today on Radio Reactive 1, we'll listen to 3 of their hits. You know, I mentioned in my very first reaction video that the first 45 RPM single I ever purchased with my own money was Ringo by Lauren Green. That's because I wasn't sure if my parents would condone me spending my allowance money on rock and roll. But the 2 records I really wanted to buy at the time were the 2 biggest songs on the charts at the time. One was a 2-sided single by the Beatles, I Feel Fine and She's a Woman. But the other one was this song by the Dave Clark Five.
Radio Reactive 1.
It was called Any Way You Want It.
Any way you want it, you can call me any day. Hey. Any way you want it, you can always hear me say, hey. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. So any way you want it, that's the way it will be. You don't want money, you don't want a diamond ring.
No band was tighter than the Dave Clark Five. From 1965, Any Way You Want It. Just 1 year earlier, the Dave Clark Five hit the Billboard Hot 100 for the very first time and landed in the top 10 with this hit.
Radio Reactive 1.
Glad All Over.
You say that you love me. Say you love me. All of the time. All of the time. You say that you need me. Say you need me. You'll always be mine. Always be mine. I'm feeling glad all over. Yes, I'm glad all over. Baby, I'm glad all over. So glad you're mine. I'll make you happy. Make you happy. You'll never be blue. Never be blue. You'll have no sorrow. Have no sorrow. 'Cause I'll always be true. Always be true. And I'm feeling glad all over. Yes, I'm glad all over. Baby, I'm glad all over. So glad you're mine. Other girls may try to take me away. Take me away. But you know, it's by your side I will stay. I'll stay. Our love will last now. Our love will last till the end of time. End of time. Because it's love now. Because it's love. It's only yours and mine. Yours and mine. And I'm feeling glad all over. Yes, I'm glad all over. Baby, I'm glad all over. So glad you're mine. Other girls may try to take me away. Take me away. But you know, it's by your side I will stay. I'll stay. Our love will last now. Our love will last till the end of time. End of time. Because it's love now. Because it's love. It's only yours and mine. Yours and mine. And I'm feeling glad all over. Yes, I'm glad all over. Baby, I'm glad all over. So glad you're
Dave Clark Five, they had a sound that was unique to them with that keyboard and sax in the mix. Glad All Over was released at the end of 1963, although it spent most of its time on the charts in 1964. Later that same year, in 64, the Dave Clark Five would release a ballad that peaked at number 4 on the charts and would be the group's 5th gold record. It was also my favorite song by the Dave Clark Five.
Radio Reactive 1.
And here they are performing it on the ABC TV show Shindig. Because
It's right that I should care about you and try to make you happy when you're blue. It's right to feel the way I do because I love you.
of those school dances, and that's the song that you'd wait for so that you could slow dance with your girl. Because by the Dave Clark Five. Unlike the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, the Dave Clark Five didn't have the staying power. Their only number one hit came in 1965, a song called Over and Over.
I said over and over and over again, this dance is gonna be a drag. Out, 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 out.
But after that, they struggled to gain much traction. They did hit the top 10 one more time in 1967 with a song called You Got What It Takes. But they couldn't even crack the top 30 after that, and by 1968, their days of releasing hit records were over. So it turned out that our optimism about the Dave Clark Five potentially being the Beatles' chief rival didn't quite pan out the way we thought at the time. In point of fact, the Beatles didn't really have a rival. They were without peer, and remain, to this day, the greatest musical export of the 1960s, bar none. But during that brief period while they were cranking out hit records, the Dave Clark Five was a force in popular music. Do you remember them? What was your favorite Dave Clark Five song? Leave your reaction in a comment below, because remember, this is the reaction channel where the only reaction that matters is yours. If you like what we do here, leave a thumbs up to like the video, hit the big red subscribe button to subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to receive notifications whenever a new video goes up. And we'll see you around the campus for our next video on Radio Reactive 1.
So hear it all, stay in the know, and carry a portable radio. Just take a lively companion wherever you go. Take a portable radio.